Question, did you know we have the ability to heal ourselves? Here's how. Let's get started. This one is called, actually, you know what? It's whatever you want to call it. The point is that we're about to kind of like go through like our different organs and different things like this. One thing that we know for a fact is that we have the power and the ability to be able to pray on ourselves, heal ourselves, love ourselves. However you want to call it, it's all the same thing. We're gonna feel better afterwards, right? Like, and we have the ability to be able to do that. So that's gonna start with me kind of breaking down as we go through it, like our different organs, our endocrine system, but again, complicated words to just be like, look, like find the virtues, the emotions that I'm gonna explain as we're going through, and everyone will understand that. So that's all that's important. So let's begin. We're gonna start breathing deeply, kind of like expanding into the bottom of the breath as low as possible. You can even get into the breath into your feet if you can, but really expanding through like in the thighs and everything and feeling the breath there. Breathe into there, expanding on all angles, and then exhale, flatten the stomach. So we start like doing that kind of like a pump. Do it as many times as you want. I'm gonna do it 9. It's really gets the energy going to where we have like now like a container or a charge, a wattage to be able to work with. And then from there you can kind of feel, you know, that like energy has kind of been built up again in the core. And what we're gonna do is put a smile on our faces. Why? Because of a lot of reasons. But shout out to Uncle Tony Robbins, and talks about like physiology. At least that's where I learned it. But talks about physiology, and now physiology is always going to affect our mind and our body. Quick thing about that, you know, you have like spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. And so any of those is going to benefit the other one if you're doing anything good for any of them. So aligning the body will align the mind, aligning the mind will align the body, and so on and so forth. So similarly here, we put our smile on our face, and then, you know, we're gonna be smiling inside of ourselves, right? Like, so that smile on the outside starts being reflected in our mental and in our consciousness. So we bring it in as we're smiling, and we see like a moon and like a sun in our eyes, and can see them like rotating a little bit. Everything in the universe is known as like a spiral. You know, the earth is like like a pearl. So like the earth is like a pearl, sun, moon, stars, you know, everything is like this pearl, and it's like spinning and orbiting. So we like see that happening. It's just kind of fun. And then moving into like the middle of those two, and like the center in the mid-eye, not necessarily the third eye. Shout out to all these woke people, but the mid-eye in this particular case is like connected to all of our senses in the body. I'm not a doctor, you know the lawyers are doing the whole thing, are like, oh, this is not, you know, whatever advice, or, you know, financial people like, this isn't financial advice or whatever. So this isn't like doctoral advice, but you can check me on it if you want to. It's connected to the senses. You smile into that. Deep breath, and then see it go back into the middle of the brain as well, and see just the whole brain being nourished again. Like the mental now is coming together, the senses building this up. And then seeing gravity take place and just like trickling all the way down into the heart. Because in this understanding, take it how you want to take it, is that the heart has the ability to amplify energy. So it's kind of like when you love somebody or have love for somebody and you care about someone, how you'd like to go to a movie with them because it makes it more fun than going by yourself. How you'd want to go to a game or something with them, watch a movie at home or a show or whatever together, because it amplifies the energy whenever our hearts are connected, kind of like a candle lighting another candle. And so it doesn't diminish from what we're doing. It's one of the enigmas of the universe, you know? So we let it get into our heart, the energy begins to amplify. And And then from there, we're gonna be focusing a little bit more. There's a couple of different routes we can go with this. One of the routes is gonna be what we call the creation cycle. So it's explained through like the fact that the heart is kind of like where like love exists. So it's not really explained. It's like one of those things like you think about someone and they think about you and you call them and they're like, oh, I was just thinking about you. It's like, it's not linear. It's not based off of like time and space. It's like outside of that. So we start there because that's like the root from where all things come. Shout out to my man, Joe Scrow, the Moon Man. Always says start from the heart. And then from there you go into the spleen, which is gonna be below our left breast. Really, it's going into openness and it's going into trust. Because, you know, a lot of times when people have, you know, like Drake said, trust issues, it's gonna be around our spleen, our gut. These are associated organs that work with one another, the spleen and the gut. And so we see like the energy there, send that love there, appreciation and acceptance for where we already are in regards to our process with that, and also an appreciation of getting going on this journey we're about to go through our body. So open up in the spleen, then you can bring it back to our heart to recharge again, amplify the energy again, and then move it into the lungs, which you see your lungs light up. And with the lungs, we're wanting to feel courage and more importantly, righteousness. Not from like a religious standpoint, just like the do the right thing in this, right? Like whatever that is, everybody knows it. Everyone has experienced, you know, just that understanding that we know what the right thing is to do. So now that we've opened up, trusted the process, we're moving into just being now aligned, being courageous and doing the right thing. We're going into being like gentle and calm. So like, you know, tender with ourselves, others, things of that nature, you know, treat me nicely. You know, the kidneys are going to be lit up now, sending them love, appreciation, feeling calm. You know, like the calm in the center of a storm. You can feel like the watery feeling, cool water in the kidneys. Or just being cool in the face of any adversity. And then back in the heart, again, recharging, feeling more love, can feel everything amplifying now. I'm sure everyone could feel it as you go from one to the next, and then amplifying again in the heart, feeling the love, appreciation, moving it into the liver, which is super important because most women are actually rooted in the liver, and we can go into further details about that, but what I'll tell you right now is that the liver is very important for processing things, not just alcohol, you know what I'm saying? Processes a lot of things, like emotions and things of that nature. So we're gonna focus on not being angry and focusing on the energy of like forgiveness, forgetfulness, generosity, kindness with ourselves. Like that's all like around the liver. So we'll like send the energy into the liver. Again, in that cycle now, after being calm, we're going through this like life journey. We're pretty much ending up at the liver, which is going to be like this forgiveness for anything that anyone's ever done to us, anything that we've ever done to ourselves, because that's really where everything starts, anything we've ever blamed ourselves for, which then leads to forgetfulness, because true forgiveness means that like I forgot it. Like it's not even, like if I'm holding on to it still, like the whole grudge thing, you know, like, I mean, I'm not gonna get into the sexism thing, but you know how the whole grudge thing goes. The grudge thing goes with like forgetfulness. Like, so it's like you just completely forget it. And then the reason is because you're being kind to ourselves, because it's not like I've never done anything that I didn't plan on going a certain type of way or whatever the case may be either. So if I'm being kind to myself, I'll also be kind to others. And then the generosity, which is just like giving it all, any energy that I get, I'll give out because I know that it's regenerative. Like it'll come right back around, because that is the circle of life. And that is the cycle we've just made, is the creation cycle from the beginning all the way through. And then we're going to go back to the heart and then send that energy down into the core, where we can store this energy right below the belly button. You can kind of just feel right behind, like an inch and a half behind, and you just kind of can feel like breathe out again, everything expand. and then everything contract and concentrate. Expand again, you can spin it, like if you see anything, you can spin like 9 times or however many times you want to around clockwise, and then as we exhale counterclockwise, see it concentrating back in. It's like a volcano, or not volcano, but a tornado. Stayed alive though, so that's all that matters. So we're in this appreciative, state right now. So that's why I look at it that way. So then after that, we could put our hands there, just collect that energy, and click save. Savor this moment. And boom, that's kind of like the first little part of it. And then if you want to go on from there, basically what you're going to do is you're going to take the energy and begin to move kind of like the bottom of our gut and our bladder area. And you can kind of feel there's like a perineum, it's like right there. Kind of contract that, feel the energy drop down there. Feel that energy of love and appreciation and acceptance all there. And then come up into the gut through the diaphragm, and then feel in the solar plexus. And feel it come up into the thymus, which is gonna be like sternum, the center of the chest. And then up into the thyroid in the throat. And then all the way up to the crown in the pineal. So right up here to the crown. Everything go up there. You can feel it spinning as well and kind of like pulling in all the I like to call it like the heaven energy, all the, like the super virtuous stuff of like discernment and wisdom and things that are like more metaphysical. You can't like touch them, Holy Spirit type of stuff. Bringing it down the spine. Bringing it down the spine. The spine is super important to like keep loose because the spine is connected to every other part of our body, and whenever we don't have any spinal fluid anymore, we're kind of like comatose. So spinal, everything goes down the spine, feel it warm all the way back down to the perineum once again, and feel everything once again kind of come up and collect around. We can also open our eyes if you want to. And now that you have all this energy built up, we can kind of get all of it into our hands. So our hands kind of are like superconductors in a lot of ways. So get that going. And then from there, you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. You can kind of feel the energy in the fingers, and then you can kind of give yourself we don't want to excess heat, because if you can just think about whenever there's excess heat, we have forest fires and stuff. So now that we built up all that, we want to Jay-Z, dirt off your shoulders type of thing. Rub it all down. Everything gets recycled in earth, right? So any of these types of things you can send down to the earth where it can be recycled and brought back better. So just rub all that down. We can also rub down on our ears if we want to ground our energy, because there's reflexology points all around our ears as well. Or we can pull up on our ears if we want to raise our energy. But to boost back up the energy, again, you can do this anytime. Let's boost the energy back up, and then after that, once again, collect everything in the core where it can be stored and ready for, any explosion that it needs. But it's now it's saved like a hard drive. Appreciate anyone that was here participating in this meditation. Remember that we're made with love, so anytime that we're doing these type of self-love, self-care practices, it's always benefiting not just us, but everyone we love, everyone we care about. So please comment, subscribe, keep the love alive.